Paul doesn't need to denigrate the Torah by calling it a yoke of slavery, because that's actually not the focus of the argument in the first place, even though those are the words. As we shall see in the next verse, which is needed to develop the context of verse 1, circumcision is the fulcrum by which membership into first century Israel was being weighed. Now I know some of you are saying, but Ariel, circumcision is a commandment. It's Torah. I know. Hang on. We have to define this word circumcision. So let's do that first. The Galatian Gentiles were at the crossroads of decision. Would they invest their faith in Jewish ethnicity? Or would they invest their faith in Jesus Christ, the one who died and rose again? Look at Galatians 2:21. I do not nullify the grace of God, for if righteousness were through the law, then Christ died for no purpose. Notice the verbiage. Now compare Galatians 5:2. Look, I, Paul, say to you that if you accept circumcision, Christ will be of no advantage to you. All right, why did I bring these two verses up? Let's notice something. In 2:21, it's Christ versus the law. That's the verbiage that's being described. But in 5:2, it's Christ versus circumcision. So, after studying the Jewish background of Paul's life and knowing his propensity for carefully reasoned arguments, it should be amply clear that Paul did not mean Torah observance when he used the word law in Galatians 2:21. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that. And that's how we're going to have to develop the context. By the same token, it should be amply clear that he does not simply mean physical circumcision when he uses the word circumcision in Galatians 5:2. I bet you didn't know that either. All right, let's put these two back together and we'll see this. I'm going to flesh this out in my commentary, so don't worry if you're a little challenged or confused at this point in time. What are our conclusions? And I'll explain myself in the conclusion. In Galatians 5:1 and 2, as well as Galatians 2:21 that we read earlier, Paul states that if the Galatians wish to continue down the road constructed by those false teachers, the road described by these terms of first century Judaism as the law, under the law, works of the law, and circumcision, all of those terms kind of work together. If they do that and reject the free offer of genuine and lasting covenant membership into Israel as offered by God and outlined in the Tanakh, the Old Testament, then, using the language of Galatians 5:1 and 2, the work done by Yeshua's cross will indeed have no value for them at all. I know I have to pause there and kind of let you guys digest that. The first century Judaisms were thinking that the Torah was for Jews only and that covenant membership was performed by their Jewish ethnicity, or it was secured by their Jewish ethnicity. So that's the road of decision that these Gentiles had to contend with. Do we convert, become Jews, and then become covenant members and receive Torah? Biblical freedom in this context does not mean free from law. Again, knowing that Yeshua set us free from sin, its proclivities, its bondage, and its ultimate penalty helps us to understand Paul's teachings on this subject. It's the context of what Paul's talking about when he refers to freedom. The paradigm set by the Exodus narrative teaches us that sin, which is bondage, prevents us from truly worshiping God the way he deserves to be worshiped. Speaking for God, Moses said, "Let my people go so that they may serve me." Go back and read your Bibles again to the book of Exodus. That's the paradigm of bondage. Once Yeshua makes us alive in him and sets us free, we are then free to worship God properly without the fear of condemnation or bondage to sin. Do you understand the paradigm now? We're free to worship God. And what does that freedom look like? It's not free from obligation to God. It's now free too. This means that we're free to walk into Torah the way God intended it to be walked out. And what does that look like? It's an imitation of Messiah by the Spirit and to the glory of God the Father. Amen. Amen. Check out my podcasts, which are available on iTunes. You can search for me in the store under the search term Ariel Hanavi. But if you prefer to watch your theology, check out my YouTube channel, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and click the bell for notifications. New content is added weekly or even daily.